Alrighty. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 87 of the Dear Herbalist Podcast, titled How to Align with Nature Using Herbal Medicine and Natural Rhythms. Now, I know we skipped a week. Skipped a podcast, I guess I should say, skipped a day. And so I am back now. I knew that our elections were going on, so I wanted to give people some time to, watch it. Everybody wants to sit up and watch. So do that, go ahead on and do that. And I wanted to kind of watch it myself. So I did not have a podcast on Tuesday. However, I'm back. Hello, everyone. If you are new to this podcast, you are most certainly welcome. Please consider sharing, and subscribing. And if you are a continued listener or a returning listener, thank you so much for your continued support. I most certainly appreciate it. Now, before I dive in really quickly into this episode and tonight's topic, I want to talk a little bit about this election. Okay. Now, typically I don't get into politics on here. That's not what this platform is for, but just walk with me for just 2 whole minutes. Now, I've been watching a series of breakdowns and oh my gosh, and what are we going to do? People, our faith and our trust and our hope should never be in a human being. We are subject to error. We are subject to greed. We are subject to all the 7 deadly sins. So therefore, our hope, our faith, and our trust should not be in a person. So no matter who wins, or who won, I should say, we should not have our hope and faith in them at all. We should have our hope and faith in the Most High, understanding that everything that happens is happening as it should happen. And everything that will happen in the future is going to happen as it has been preordained before the beginning of time. And so all of these meltdowns and people losing their minds and all this other kind of stuff, you're going to hurt yourselves. You're going to cause all kinds of unnecessary stress, anxiety. It is not healthy. It is not healthy. So from an herbalist perspective, please, take care of yourselves out there. Don't worry about who is in office, who ain't, whatever. The reality is when Kamala was in office and still in office, people are whining about the economy, and rightfully so. Right? Trying to rub 2 nickels together, trying to afford food, trying to do this. You're getting through that, aren't you? So you can get through anything else. So I don't think that we should break down, fall down. No one should ever have that type of control over our lives. No one. If you think some big catastrophic thing is going to happen, you should be preparing already, because it can happen under any administration. Doesn't matter who it is. Okay? So let's not focus on the person. Let's focus on getting our lives together. Let's focus on getting our health together. Let's focus on getting our children together. Let's focus on getting our marriages together. Let's focus on just getting life together. Let's focus on our purpose and the things that we were put here for. Because again, if you believe in the Most High, as I do, everything happens for a reason. Nothing is by happenstance. He's not sitting up in heaven like, oh no, Donald Trump won. There's no shocker here. All right. So come on, y'all. Let's shake this off. Let's move forward. Let's make sure we check our bodies, our health, and everything else, because we still need to make sure we good at the end of the day. Now, I'm going to hop off of that because that's not why I'm here. Now, let me explain this before I get to yakking again. Tonight's podcast is going to be a little longer than others. And I know y'all going to bear with me. I just squeezed 2 days into one, right? No, but really, I really wanted to give you as much information as I can as far as using herbal medicine and natural rhythms to align with nature. Now, we've often heard people say, get in alignment with nature and become one with nature. And, we have to follow the path and all these things. And I know people are like, what? This is why people call y'all tree huggers. Because it's like, what in the world are you talking about? But I'm going to give you some practical things, right? Practical things. The reason why, sickness, illness, dis-ease, imbalances in the body occur is because we don't really know our natural rhythms and our natural cycles and how things occur, not only in our body, but also in the plants. that we use to help balance us back out. And so I think that that is one of the things that are missing in herbal medicine, that understanding of that process. We need to know that. We need to know our rhythms in the human body, but we also need to know that of the plants so that, we can better support the body's health, the digestive system, our energy levels, and have more mental clarity. All right. And so in Earth, as well as all living beings, they follow a natural rhythm. And this has evolved over time, and our bodies are no exception. And within our bodies, we are governed by a 24-hour internal clock known as the circadian rhythm. And I'm sure you've heard this before. So we're going to talk about that. Start off with the human body, and then we'll move into the plant body. And then y'all know we talk about the synergy between the two. So let's go. Now, understanding rhythms in the human body. Let's talk about the circadian rhythm. Now, the circadian rhythm is a 24-hour cycle that governs our sleep-wake cycle. It also governs digestion, hormone production, as well as our energy levels. It affects a lot of biological functions, right? So, for example, let's say you get up in the morning between 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. During this time, our cortisol levels peak to promote wakefulness and alertness. And this is a good time to take advantage of energizing herbs, such as like your peppermint or your ginseng. Now, I'm a pin in this real quick. Y'all already know what I'm going to say. Get your pens, your notepads, your papers, whatever. Go ahead and get it out because you already know I'm going to give you some gems tonight. Okay? I am more of a teacher than I am a speaker, so please hear me out. Take some notes because I'm going to give you some stuff that I believe can help you tonight. All right, now let's get back into midday. Midday between 10 a.m. and about 2 p.m., your digestive efficiency is high. So this is the best time for larger meals because your digestive system is really firing off at this point. So you can look at using digestive herbs like fennel or ginger, which can kind of help support your natural digestive peak. Now in the afternoon around 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., many people experience like a dip in alertness and need like a little gentle stimulation. You've all sat at your desk and around 2 o'clock, you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm ready to go if you're at work, But during this time, you want to look at liver supporting herbs like milk thistle that can help with metabolic processes in the body. And then around the evening time, around, let's say 6 to 10 p.m., the body begins winding down for sleep. And so with melatonin production starting during this time, it helps the body to just start winding down. And this is the reason why I ask people, when they're like, I have anxiety, I have insomnia, I can't sleep. What are you doing at night? Because and it's different for different people, but for the most part, generally speaking, between 6 to 10 p.m., the body begins to wind down for sleep. And once melatonin production starts, it's kind of like the body's like, okay, let's prepare for rest. But a lot of times people aren't. They're like, let's sit in front of the TV till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And we're all guilty of it, but that disrupts this process. So you want to use calming herbs like lavender or lemon balm, and this will help prepare the body for a restful sleep. And then at night, between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m., this period is very vital for deep sleep as well as cellular repair. Because during this time, the body is really working hard to help heal and repair and restore these type of things. So it's very important that you are getting that good night's rest. And this is the reason why. Because the body can fully focus on repairing damaged cells or detoxing the body. All of these things, the body can focus on that and not have to focus on processing the information that you're giving it when you're up watching TV, reading a book, or doing word puzzles. All right. So make sure you get that sleep. You can use herbs, let's say such as valerian or passion flower, to help promote your sleep quality. And this will definitely align with the body's natural melatonin peak. All right. Now let's look at seasonal rhythms and using herbs. So just as our bodies have daily rhythms, they also adjust to the seasons, right? So aligning herbal usage with seasonal changes can kind of help support your health and your balance. Now, I already talked to you about kind of what the body is doing throughout the day, right? This is the body's rhythm. Now we're going to talk about the seasons and what the seasonal rhythms are. So in the spring, during this time, plants begin to grow, okay, and they have young leaves which are rich in nutrients. This is the season for detoxifying herbs like dandelion and nettle, which align with the body's natural tendency to cleanse after winter. So when you hear people talking about detoxing, right? If you're going to do a major detoxing, consider aligning with the body's natural tendency to cleanse after winter and cleanse after winter. Okay, consider cleansing in the spring using young leaves because they are rich in nutrients. Now in the summer, plants actually reach their peak and they're often flowering at this time. And so sun-loving herbs like St. John's wort and calendula, they support skin health and immunity. And they also address common summer ailments, skin burns and these type of things. In autumn, roots and berries are often harvested, and plants are also beginning to prepare for the winter. So like I spoke about before, in autumn, the roots tend to kind of gather all the energy together to themselves, right, to prepare for winter. And this is the reason why during this time you want to harvest the roots, because that is where most of the potency as well as the energy is. And during this time, you want to consider immune supportive herbs like elderberry, echinacea, burdock root. These align with the body's immune system, as the colder weather begins. It kind of helps gives it that support. Now in the winter, we enter in with the evergreens. Okay. Some barks are also harvested in the winter. So herbs like pine and rosemary can support respiratory health. And this is the time where you start to see a lot of release of mucus. And if it's not thin enough, it'll start pooling around your respiratory system. Now you start having issues. So what you want to do is mucus begins to build up. You want it to thin out so that the body can get rid of it. So consider warming herbs like ginger, okay, because these also help the circulation and moving stuff out during the colder months. Pine, especially white pine, is very, very good for respiratory health. It tastes amazing. It doesn't taste like straight pine or bark. It's very light, but it definitely gets the job done. So consider that in the winter time. Now, did you guys know that not only do we have rhythm, like I said, the plants also follow rhythm, but also the compounds in the plants, right, are subject to circadian rhythms. And so plants also produce certain compounds in cycles. Understanding these rhythms may help us as herbalists or natural practitioners maximize the potency and effectiveness of plant-based remedies. So you want to know what cycle, first of all, you're in, and which compound is best used within that cycle, because that's how you align with that particular plant, right? So let's look at some of the circadian variations in the plant compounds. Number one, any type of light dependent compounds. So you're talking about your flavonoids or your terpenes. They often peak during daylight hours. And this correlates with photosynthesis, right? And we learned about that in grade school. This is thought to protect plants against UV radiation as well as herbivores, right? So for example, St. John's wort produces higher levels of hypericin during midday hours when the sun is actually the strongest. Okay. Another circadian variation in plant compounds are the nighttime synthesis. So certain alkaloids in plants like your nightshades and coffee show higher concentrations at night. Now, this could be due to the biosynthetic pathways regulated during the dark phase. That's what research has kind of showed. But it may be beneficial to harvest plants with high alkaloid content in the evening, as these compounds could align with the plant's natural rhythm. Now, when you're harvesting, you always want to make sure that you're taking things into consideration. So let's talk about that just for a second. You want to choose the right time because, like I said before, this can affect the medicinal potency of the herbs. So if you want to get the herb at its maximum potency, you have to know the right time and the right part of the plant to harvest. This is very important. So if you harvest plants at specific times of the day or even specific seasons, like we talked about before, this can yield the highest concentration of beneficial compounds. And so when you're looking at how to address a cold or a dis-ease or an imbalance in the body, you want to know, first of all, what action needs to occur in order for that to be addressed, and which compounds are needed in order to address that specific issue. And so if you want, once you know that, right, once you know the compounds that you need, now you have to figure out when is the best time to harvest this particular plant with this particular compound so that I can get the highest concentration. This is very important. And this is also important and relevant for herbs that are used to treat conditions related to sleep, mood, and immune support, right? Where alignment with plant rhythms can enhance therapeutic effects. And especially when you need that highest concentration amount to get the maximum support for the body so that you can either get to sleep or get rid of the cold or balance your mood out, depending on whatever it is that you might be or your clients might be dealing with. Now, give you a little bit of science up in there. Let's talk about some practical tips for aligning with the body's plant rhythms. Number one, sleep and light exposure. So you want to aim to get natural light exposure in the morning to reinforce your circadian rhythms. And reducing blue light exposure in the evening supports melatonin production, helping to maintain a healthy sleep cycle. The other thing is that during mealtime and digestive health, the body's metabolism is most efficient in the morning and midday. So it's helpful to consume larger meals earlier in the day and use herbs that aid in digestion like peppermint or ginger, which can be taken before or after meals to support these natural cycles. And one of the things that I love, especially when I go get sushi or to any type of Asian restaurant, if you notice, they always offer ginger with the meal. And it's just amazing. And I believe that's to help the digestive process. Again, you want to, everything you eat, everything you do, you want to align that with the right way to do things. You want to align it with the system and how the body actually works. Another thing you might want to research is food pairing. So should you pair fruit with dairy? Should you pair meat with fruit? That kind of thing. Consider that to also help support your digestive system. But ginger, peppermint too, but ginger is definitely one of my go-tos as far as helping my metabolism as well as breaking down the food that I eat. So consider that. Another thing is activity and rest cycles. So by engaging in physical activity in the daylight hours, particularly in the morning, this will align with cortisol peaks and enhance alertness. The evening time really should be reserved for winding down with calming herbs like lemon balm or lavender, that type of thing, if really needed. So if you are exercising at night, let's say, hey, this is the best time, it's really not good for the body and it's not aligning with your body's natural rhythm. During the daytime, during sunlight, that's when the body's like, I'm up and I want to make sure that you have everything that you need to function, right? Because at night, back in the old times, when we didn't have lights and electricity and all this other kind of stuff, you followed the sun. And then when the sun went down, so did you, right? But nowadays, we have lights and electricity and all this other stuff, and we have a means to continue on. So I always say us as humans, I don't feel like we're in our natural habitat. I really, really don't. Everything in our societies today seem to be so opposite of the rhythms of our body, and we're off. And that is why, because we are not in alignment with our body or even nature's natural rhythm. We have to change that. We really, really do. And then the last thing is herbal timing. So for herbal remedies that target specific issues, consider your body's cycle. So for example, when you're taking liver supporting herbs like milk thistle in the afternoon, this is good because the liver is actually active in detoxification during this time. And it may be more effective during that time because, again, you're supporting the liver. And you have to look at, I tell people this all the time, you have to look at the herbs as a support. No matter what, they know what they're there to do. They are there to support the body's natural processes. They are to work in alignment with the body and not against the body. All right. They don't work in confusion. They don't operate in confusion, and neither does the body. Everything has a preset rhythm, and they know the human body as well as nature. They know how to work together. It's just man, our mind, our intellect, all of these things gets us in trouble every single time. Every single time. I can't stress that enough. Now let's talk about a little bit more about the rhythms of common diseases and how to address them with herbal medicine. Now, many chronic diseases follow predictable patterns as well as rhythms, and they tend to fluctuate in intensity throughout the day, during certain seasons, or even responding to our hormonal cycles. But by understanding these rhythms, we can better support the body's natural defenses with herbs that align with each phase, which will improve outcomes as well as minimizing the symptoms that we will experience. So let's talk a little bit about some of these common diseases or disorders. And for those that are new to this channel, you'll hear me. I'm not slow. I tend to say it that way because I want people to understand that the etymology of disease means a lack of ease. And disorder is just that, a lack of order. So it's my attempt to simplify the word so that you can understand what it means. So every time I pause, that's what it means. When the body is out of balance. That's just the bottom line of what that means. So let's look at some of these common conditions. Number 1, inflammatory conditions. That's your arthritis, these type of things. So the rhythm of the inflammatory conditions often show, symptoms peaking early in the morning, right? The flare-up timing is always tied to the body's natural immune signaling, which tends to increase inflammation as your cortisol levels drop at night. So an herbal rhythm solution is maybe in the morning, take some anti-inflammatory herbs like turmeric or willow bark upon waking up, and this will help reduce the stiffness and the inflammation. Now in the evening time, you want to incorporate herbs with immune modulating effects, right? Such as ashwagandha, which will help you get some restful sleep. It'll balance out your immune responses overnight. And this approach may reduce the severity of the morning stiffness by calming your inflammatory signals during the night. And if you've listened to my prior podcast on biochemical pathways, targets, receptors, all of these things as herbalists, we have to have knowledge of because the herbs act on these processes. And when dis-ease or imbalances are present, then that means there is a defect, right? Or there's an imbalance or a disorder that occurs because these signals are not being made. The receptors are not connecting as they should. The pathways have issues. And so by understanding what they are as an herbalist, that's how you know which herbs to use, how they work, that kind of thing. So let's look at respiratory disorders such as asthma. Now, the disease rhythm of asthma and other respiratory conditions often worsen early morning hours, probably around 4 a.m., when your airway reactivity tends to reach its peak. Okay. This is due to circadian drops in cortisol and body temperature, which can constrict your airways and cause a huge increase in mucus production. Now, an herbal solution to this is in the evening time before bed, you want to consider using lung supportive herbs such as mullein to help soothe and clear out your respiratory tract. And this will potentially reduce nighttime symptoms. Early in the morning, you want to consider doing a steam inhalation. So inhaling steam with eucalyptus or herbs like thyme, because this can help ease the congestion, open up your airways, and reduce morning flare-ups. If you have a chronic case, of asthma or any type of respiratory disorder, consider combining, the inhalation steam with a respiratory tonic, which may support your long-term lung function. Next is your cardiovascular conditions. So we're talking about hypertension and these type of things. The disease rhythm of the cardiovascular conditions are that blood pressure tends to rise early in the morning hours, peaking around mid-morning. And this pattern is also known as the morning surge. And this increases the risk of heart attacks and strokes, which often occur around this time. It doesn't happen with everyone, but it tends to occur around this time. So an herbal solution for that is in the morning, you want to take calming herbs that support your blood pressure. That could be garlic, if you want to just keep it all the way simple, or hawthorn. These can be taken in the early morning to kind of help modulate this peak. You can also use adaptogens, which can reduce stress and regulate your cortisol, which can help with your blood pressure. And then in the evening, you can consider herbs like valerian or passion flower to help promote relaxation and lower your blood pressure overnight, reducing the morning surge effects. All right. Now let's look at number 4, blood sugar imbalances. So this is your type 2 diabetes. The disease rhythm of blood sugar imbalances is that blood sugar levels typically follow a circadian rhythm, often peaking after meals and decreasing during sleep. So those with type 2 diabetes, however, this rhythm can be disrupted, causing elevated blood sugars in the morning. And they've called this the dawn effect. An herbal rhythm solution for this one is in the morning before breakfast, you want to consider herbs that help improve insulin sensitivity. This is your cinnamons or your berberine, because they lower blood sugar in the morning. Now, throughout the day, particularly after meals, you may want to consider fenugreek, because they help control your blood sugar spikes. And then in the evening, you want to consider bitter herbs like gentian or dandelion root, because this will help stimulate the digestive enzymes, which improve overall blood sugar regulation. Now, these can be taken before dinner to support the digestive process, and it'll also help prepare the body for stable overnight blood sugar levels. So if you have someone that has type 2 diabetes, for example, maybe pass this information on to them. Next, we'll look at sleep disorders. One common one is insomnia. Now, the rhythm of sleep disorders are that they often have circadian disruptions, leading to difficulty falling asleep or even waking up way too early. Now, these issues may be exacerbated by stress hormones like cortisol peaking too late in the evening or melatonin production starting too late. So in the evening, let's say 1 to 2 hours before bed, consider herbs like valerian, chamomile, or passion flower to help initiate the winding down process. You can also add ashwagandha to help calm cortisol levels, because ashwagandha is an adaptogen. It helps the body adapt to stress. Now, throughout the day, you can take adaptogens in the morning, because this may help regulate your cortisol and support a balanced sleep-wake cycle over time. And then, of course, at night, typically right before bed, you want to use herbs that promote a deeper sleep. Okay, hops is one of those, because they can improve sleep quality. They can support the body's natural repair processes that occur during deep sleep phases. So this is the reason why if you have sleep issues, you're going to have health issues. The body is not able to repair itself during the time it normally does its work. Okay, so let's say you work overnight at, FedEx somewhere, and you're ready to go. You know exactly what you need to do. You got your assignment. You know how many boxes you need to ship and pack and all that. And a bulldozer comes through and bulldozes your whole area. Okay, it's damaging, it's a problem, but we're on a schedule, so let me move you over to a different area. Well, this time, a fire starts in that area. Okay, no problem. The people came, the fire department, everything like that, so we're going to move you over to a whole nother warehouse. All right. Now, another bulldozer goes through there. My point is, okay, you won't be able to get your job done. And if you're not able to get your job done, you're not able to be effective. And if you're not effective, the outcome will not be reached. With the body, it's the same thing. If it's not able to do what it was naturally designed to do, and at night in deep sleep is to repair the body, any injuries or anything, a lot of times people don't even know they have damaged cells. They don't even know they have injuries inside of their body. So if you don't give your body the time to fix those things, they will stay there. And they will grow and they will cause more problems. And next thing you know, you will build dis-ease. So deep sleep is very, very important. And I know, again, our society, our lifestyles, they don't support that. But if we can get back to how we're designed, this is the reason why I'm going over these things in this particular podcast, so that people can understand, like, man, maybe the quality of my life will be better if I follow this. This is what my body is doing. This is what nature is doing. This is what's going on during the seasons. The animals seem to listen and pay attention. Why in the world, as me as a human, riddled with all kind of health issues, why is it that I can't do that? And the truth is, you don't know. But now that you do know, now you got to do something about it. Because once you do know, now you're held accountable for what you do know. So the best thing that you can do is try to get on track, no matter what. How is that possible? I don't know. Some people will say, oh, well, you don't understand. I got to work. This is the best time. And it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The body still has its system and its ways of doing things. Whether we have a million things or not, it's not going to change for us. It's already been programmed. It's already in our DNA. Nature already has her ways of doing things. From the creation of Earth, this is what has been programmed into every living being. We have a system. We have a clock. We have a rhythm. And it's not going to change for us. We can't give it orders. All we can do is disrupt its process. And we pay the price for it every single time. So we got to find a way. I don't know how. I don't know when. I don't know where. But we got to find a way. Okay? We got to find a way. Do you wonder why people that do intermittent fasting and they have this short window during the daytime and then that's it and they don't eat again till the next daytime, how they're able to lose so much weight? Because they're working with the body's natural rhythm. I can eat a large meal during the day because I know my body's going to help me digest it and handle it and it'll be fine. But if I'm eating all crazy at night, stressed out at night, cortisol is going to activate, my digestive system is going to be all out of whack. And now you're gaining weight. It's a result of not following the system. So we gotta get in alignment. I think we're making things a little bit too difficult. It's just understanding how the process works and following it. That's it. Getting over the humps. Understanding what we're putting in our mouths. Understanding why we need to align with these things and stop making everything so hoodoo. And keep it simple. It's not meant to be in a way that you can't understand it. Because how can I hold you accountable to something that is crazy hard to understand? You'll never be able to understand it. You'll never be able to get it. You just have to chug along with life as it is. Right? I can't do that. But if I explain it to you in a way that you can understand it, now you become accountable for what you know. And I don't believe that it is this difficult as we are making it in any of these communities. So that's my soapbox. Let me get back on there. Menstrual disorders. Number 6. Your menstrual disorders we're talking about here is PMS, menstrual cramps. Now, the disease rhythm of menstrual symptoms, they often follow a monthly rhythm. They peak in intensity for a few days before menstruation and during the first few days of the cycle. Now, this cycle is influenced by fluctuation in your estrogen, progesterone, and your inflammatory compounds. So, an herbal rhythm solution can look like this. For your mid-cycle, this is during ovulation, right? You can take chasteberries regularly throughout the month to balance out your hormone levels, especially around ovulation when hormone fluctuations start. During your post-ovulation, you can use anti-inflammatory herbs like ginger or turmeric, which can be added to help manage your PMS symptoms leading up to menstruation. Ginger is definitely a good one. I haven't had turmeric around my cycle time. It might be TMI, but ginger definitely helps. Then next thing, the menstrual phase. This is your active during your period time. You can look at cramp bark or black cohosh because these can ease your menstrual cramps. Or you can use red raspberry leaves because these also provide nutrients that can support your uterine health. So you really can do both. You really can do both. Now, gastrointestinal disorders. They are running rampant right now. Acid reflux and IBS. Now, these conditions also follow daily cycles, and the symptoms frequently worsen at night or even after meals. So, for example, with acid reflux, They may intensify when you're lying down, while irritable bowel syndrome often peak during the day. And like I said, with these type of imbalances, right, diseases or disorders, you want to look at how you're pairing your food together, when you're eating. You want to look at your body's ability to digest. Are you having a digestive aid with what you're eating? And are you shoveling all kind of crazy processed food into your mouth? Food that the body doesn't even recognize as food. It's like, what is this? Right? So those are the things you want to look at. Now let's talk about an herbal rhythm solution. Okay. In the morning before meals, you want to look at taking bitters, such as gentian or dandelion, because these can stimulate your digestive system and it prepares your stomach for meals and reduce the likelihood of acid reflux. In the afternoon, you want to consider digestive supportive herbs like peppermint for IBS symptoms, or you can use chamomile for stress-induced digestive issues, which can be helpful. Now, when we talk about stress-induced or emotional issues and these type of things, if you have digestive issues, typically you have issues with digesting or processing issues, trauma, these type of things. That also, because the mind and the brain, the mind and brain and all the stomach is all connected. Okay. So you might want to take a look at that. But these herbs, okay, like peppermint or chamomile, they calm the gut and they can also reduce your digestive comfort. So consider taking those in the afternoon. Now in the evening after dinner, you want to look at herbs like marshmallow root or slippery elm. Take these after your meals because they can coat your digestive tract, which will protect against acid reflux, as well as soothe any type of irritation that you may have. So by aligning the herbal remedies with the body's and the diseases, natural rhythms, chronic symptoms, we can support the body's healing process and we can reduce disease flare-ups. So using herbs thoughtfully in line with the days, the months, or even seasonal cycles of common conditions can help promote more effective and sustainable healing, and it harmonizes the body's intrinsic rhythms. They're in there. Believe me, it doesn't matter whether people believe it or not, or they think it's some mystical whatever. The Most High put everything that we needed on the inside of our body so that we can survive in this realm. And so when we do things that are opposite of the way he designed and created things, you're going to have issues. It's inevitable. And sometimes being ignorant to it is not an excuse. In closing, aligning herbal medicine with the rhythms of nature allows us to harness the inherent cycles within our bodies and our environment, promoting more balanced health and well-being. By tuning into these natural patterns, whether they're daily, seasonal, or related to specific health concerns, we can use herbs in a way that complements and supports our biological functions. This practice actually deepens our connection to the earth, and it reinforces the principle that true healing works in harmony with nature. As we integrate these rhythms into our approach to health, we foster a lifestyle that is not only health promoting, but also respects the natural cycles that sustain us and the world around us, which will, at the end of the day, give us a better quality of life. So, I hope you enjoyed tonight's podcast. I hope it was very interesting to you. I hope you share it with everyone. And if you like what you heard, please like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on all of my social media sites at The Demystified Herbalist. And until next time, family, I'm out.